All right, guys, so let's jump right into it. Today I'm doing Mike's top 10 reasons why real estate contracts fall through. All right, so this is in no particular order. It's just my top 10. There are surely more than top 10, but let's get it. Number one, lack of communication. Well, what does that mean? If you're a buyer's agent, you have to keep all parties actively communicating and involved. For example, as a buyer's agent, I have to talk to my client first and foremost. I got to talk to the lender. I got to talk to the title company. I got to talk to the listing agent. I got to talk to the inspector. And if a contractor gets involved, I got to follow up with them. There's so many people to talk to, and you're like, hey, I got to make sure all these people are on the same page to get this deal done. As a listing agent, you have a little bit lesser people to talk to, but you still have a major obligation to your seller for the most part, and you have to make sure that you're informing and updating your seller on every offer that comes in, and when you're in contract, every detail that's coming about, and make sure you're also keeping them updated, because with so many contracts on the table or so many deals as a realtor, sometimes we get sidetracked. So make sure our communication is on point with all parties. Otherwise, things won't happen on time, and it can affect the contract because it's supposed to close on a scheduled date. Number two, lenders not doing their due diligence when they're pre-approving customers, okay? So what does that mean? Just like any profession, you're always gonna have some bad apples in the bunch. And when it comes to some lenders, majority of lenders are great, but there always are a few that are not great. And then when they pre-approve clients, there's just sometimes they don't do their due diligence or their homework. And next thing you know, you're in a contract and something pops up and you're like, hey, why wasn't I told this when they were pre-approved? And that's sometimes lenders not really doing their due diligence thoroughly enough. And I've seen it happen from experience. So make sure whatever lender you're working with, especially if they're not your preferred lender, make sure that they pre-approve this client, and have all their homework done, especially prior to inspection day ending, because you don't want to get outside of inspection and then something major comes up that they could have found prior to inspection. All right, number three. Reason why things go south is an appraisal. If an appraisal does not come in and it comes in lower than the agreed purchase price by both parties, then that can be some issues with negotiation, because most of the time than not, you have some sellers that get really stubborn and they don't want to lower their price because they overpriced the home. Well, when an appraisal contingency is involved, a seller has to look and say, hey, I wanted $300,000, but the appraisal says it's $285 and that's what it's worth. Well, a buyer's not going to want to pay $15,000 over when they're like, hey, wait a minute, I'm not paying you $300,000. It's not worth that. But keep in mind, an appraisal is just an opinion from a licensed appraiser. And if you got another appraisal and you felt some type of way about it, you surely could spend the money to get it, but it can be kind of pricey. Like most average appraisers run about $500. So you might want to consider that, especially if you think that it didn't match the worth of your home. It's kind of hard to prove an appraiser incorrect, but it has happened occasionally. So that's something you'll have to decide. The number four reason is an inspection. During the inspection period, a buyer normally does their due diligence and they agree to a certain amount of days to have an inspection done. So if an inspection, say, runs like, let's say 10 days, a buyer will have, I'm here in Florida, by the way, guys. So as his contract, the buyer has up until that time of the inspection to back out. So if they're doing the inspection and then there's some issues going on, a lot of contracts fall through because buyers and sellers cannot agree on terms mutually to move forward out of the inspection phase. It happens kind of common, believe it or not, but that's what realtors are here for. It's our job to negotiate for them on their behalf and keep the deal alive and come to a solution. So this is why it's important to get a realtor, because when people go on their own, they have a harder time closing on deals. And if they do close on deals, they didn't do their due diligence because they didn't have a realtor there to guide them. So realtors, we got to be able to save that deal. And a lot of it comes because buyers and sellers, either one or two, are very stubborn to come to a mutual agreement. So it can fall through. The fifth reason is emotional buyers and sellers. What do I mean by that? You got some sellers that are very stubborn, that they want everything that they want and more. Then you have some buyers that are also stubborn and they don't want to give up anything. So when people are both extreme to the max on both sides, it makes it harder to close on a deal. No matter how good your real estate agent is and how good of advice, some buyers and sellers are just hard to work with. And I'm being candidly honest. There's a lot of things that buyers and sellers don't know. And when they get ready to sell their home or buy their home, they have this mindset like, I want to sell and get max value because everyone else is doing it. But you didn't put in any upgrades in your house to give it more value. And when I say upgrades, I'm not talking about decorating your room or making your shower look better. I'm talking about replacing that old HVAC unit that hasn't worked or has problems, or your air conditioner or your roof, things like that. So, those can be very challenging. Emotional buyers and sellers, even prior to contract, they want a lot for a little. That's what you get with buyers and sellers sometimes. And unfortunately, They don't close deals because sometimes they have ego or pride, and they have to learn the hard way. That happens occasionally. You have difficult clients, believe it or not. Let's see what I got here on my notes. Number 6, liens on property. So what does that mean? An unpaid income or property taxes, or they have some type of debt that has not been resolved. So if let's say a seller is selling their house and they have a lien on the home, that can kill a deal. The title company's not going to allow that to be, off the market until that's taken care of. Or if there's some unpaid debts that, the seller hasn't made, and they're super behind on their mortgage payment, those are things that can kill a deal. They can get a forbearance letter, or they can go into foreclosure. That happens a lot. So, sometimes sellers don't know what they don't know. And then when they get into a contract, the title company does the research and they find out like, hey, you have these unpaid debts. You need to get this fixed. So that can kill a deal too. Number 7, prideful realtors. Now, earlier I talked about, emotional clients, but we also have prideful, emotional real estate agents as well. And I don't like to talk about my profession because we're already disrespected enough, especially with people being uninformed about the qualities and attributes that we bring. But again, I have to be fair across the board. If there are bad apples in inspectors, there's bad apples in lenders, there's bad apples in clients, there's also bad apples in realtors. Majority of realtors are going to do right by you, but there are unfortunately some bad realtors that are prideful and egotistical, and they believe because they've been doing real estate for a lot of years that they know it all. But the reality is real estate changes. Real estate in 1995 is not the same in 1999 is not the same in 2019. There's a lot of differences. So you still have to re-educate yourself. And guess what? A lot of agents have not worked together with another agent. No matter how long they've been in the business, there's a lot of agents that stopped doing real estate. There's newer agents coming in all the time. So you got a mixed crowd, and you have realtors who done things a traditional way, and then you have new agents who do things a newer way. And guess what? They always don't mesh. And sometimes egos and personalities and experience get in the way. Some people think that they know more than others. So real estate agents can also contribute to killing deals if they allow their ego. Realtors, just remember, you are an agent. You are not the buyer or seller. Your job is to represent. Even though they have your best interests, they have to understand they are not buying or selling the home, and they have to make sure it closes. That's their job, and guide you. Number 8, negotiation. If a buyer and seller can't agree, that kills the deal. Simple as that. So if you have, something comes up like during inspection or appraisal or whatever the issue is, and you can't agree and you can't move forward, then hey, you guys gonna fall out of contract. Simple as that. Number 9, not closing on time. Believe it or not, most deals don't close on time. There's a lot of lenders that try their best to close on time, but things happen, that are out of your control. So expect the unexpected. If you have a closing date of 30 days, you might have to go to 45 days sometimes. Sometimes the appraisals get backed up. A lender can't control that, and then an appraisal has to come out after closing date, and you got to extend. It happens. It's kind of common, actually, especially during COVID. And the last reason I would give that deals go south and don't go through all the time and don't pan out is a buyer cannot finance a home. So you have buyers who might just lose their job, or you have buyers that take major transactions out on their credit card, and they have a huge student loan debt that they haven't paid. These are common reasons that deals are killed. You would think that during the pre-approval process, you find these things out prior, which most good lenders do. But again, some lenders don't know what they don't know, and not all lenders are equal. And then sometimes buyers are not honest. Buyers will tell lenders, no, I don't have this, I don't have that. And then when they pull the file and do their homework, they find out these buyers are liars. And believe it or not, there are buyers that will tell a lender anything so that way they can try to get a loan. And they don't care. They will compromise integrity. But it comes back to you because at the end, lenders are going to do a lot of research, and your chances of getting around a lender is very slim. And if you do get lucky, once you get that mortgage, they're going to know because you can't make the payment because you have too much debt. It's just what it is, guys. So it's always best to be honest about your stuff so that way you can, close and not shoot yourself in the foot and have an advantage in buying a home. All right, guys, I hope these top 10 tips help somebody out there. These are my top 10 experiences that I've seen or been a part of. And to why deals go south. So make sure you keep your deals alive. That's the whole thing. And have a smooth closing and do the best you can. All right, guys, I'm over and out. Have an awesome day. Check out my other YouTube videos. I post links in my description. And make sure you hit the maximize size on the screen so you can see my whole view, because it's like a black side that's covering like half of my body and you can only see like half of me. You can see the whole me. You can see a broader image if you click the maximize. So Make sure you check out my description and click the videos tab on my channel, and you can see other videos that I post, and I hope they benefit you. Have an amazing, blessed day.